Evers into book clubs itself. She also has a radio show, first Friday of every month, on caldervalleyradio.co.uk, called Bookends, talking about books. On that, her and her friend Jean spoken about book clubs being mostly made up of women. So she was fascinated to find out that such a thing as the men's book club was being advertised and promoted in Todmorden Library. So she had to go and find out more. This is her chat with Luke White, who set up the men's book club.
I'm sitting here with Luke White, who is part of a men's book group in Todd. Is that right?
Yeah, so I guess I would be classed as the founding member, and I sort of oversee, I guess, the lists and hassling and bothering people for recommendations for the lists. We've been going for about 18 months now, started last February. There's about 35 of us.
Oh wow!
In a WhatsApp group. We don't all turn up all the time. Obviously, I think there's a full range of ages and people. From sort of mid-20s up to, I'd say, the chap early 70s, a few in the 60s, but I'd say maybe 30s, 40s are dominant age group.
Yeah.
So there's lots of family responsibilities which stop people coming and work, etc. But there's usually around 10 to 15 of us meet up. We meet up second Thursday of every month in the Fox, which was formerly the pub. In the evenings, a couple of people have a few beers, nothing too wild, and we sort of have a chat about the books, chat about life, culture, anything really.
Right.
So
do you kind of hire a room in there, or do you
it's the former owners. I contacted them when it was still the pub, asked them if they would be willing to let me have sort of one of the rooms on a monthly basis as a bit of a trial period. And the first month we met up, February last year, 16 of us turned up.
Right.
And they were very happy with that for a Thursday evening.
Yes,
and
it's a win-win all round.
Yeah, so then when the new owners, Toby and his wife, I think Naomi, took over, contacted them and said, would you be happy for us to still do it? And and they've been very supportive and happy to do it. They always sort of reserve us a nice big table and space. So we pop down, people arrive from sort of 7:00 onwards ish, sort of 7:30. After bedtimes and stuff. And
children's bedtimes.
Yes, indeed. I think so I generally will contact a couple of people across the month. Or at the start, I had to contact people across the month and sort of say, could you give me something for a short list? And every month we have a short list of 4 books, which we sort of have a bit of a read about the blurb. Yeah. And then we have a voting process, which has differing viewpoints. Some people find it a little bit clunky, and I'm now wedded to it and won't redesign it. But we have a number system and a voting system, and basically we pick a book from there. But that sort of only took maybe 3 to 6 months to sort of me hassling people for recommendations, and now it's pretty organic. Lots of the guys that turn up, we've got lots of regulars. I'd say there's maybe about 10 or 12 that are a pretty strong hold. And then usually maybe 4 or 5 around the edge of that or stuff. But there's usually around about 15 on a decent month. I think just people now, as and when they hear about things or people recommend things, they tend to ping it in my direction. I add it to sort of an ever-growing list in the background and then pick a few each month, and then we sort of work from there. It's been going well so far. Everyone's And we've read
you find a level, don't you?
Definitely. I think it probably took us a few months to go off very obvious things. So
what are some other books you've read?
Yeah, so we started with Benjamin Myers on the basis that he's a local author. We thought
Gallows Pole.
No, we actually read A Perfect Golden Circle quite a lot. I guess the difficulty with book groups and across the board is trying to get books that not everyone's read, but then also ones that they might have heard of, or have some interest in. So I think it was a bit of a no-brainer. I'd prepared a short list of 4 or 5 books that first month, but everyone was keen. I was like, oh yeah, I heard of Benjamin. He's obviously lives in Hebden Bridge. So we read A Perfect Golden Circle, and then we went on to Cormac McCarthy's The Road, which I think is a very, sort of a bit of a male trope type book. And then we started to maybe get a bit more out there. In terms of we've read a couple of sort of fantasy type novels. We read Susanna Clarke's Piranesi, which was a bit of a shift for us. And then as of now, this month we're reading Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. Oh. So we've sort of, and in between there, we've sort of covered all bases in terms of, we've read, there's sort of a very popular Japanese book that came out earlier this year called Strange Pictures, which was sort of crazy and mad. A few sort of more classic ones in there, so like Shirley Jackson's We've Always Lived in the Castle. We seem to quite like things that were written in different languages first, so we've read sort of Hungarian books, Polish books, Albanian books. We read very recently a book called Broken April by Ismail Kader about sort of Albanian blood feuds.
Right.
It's sort of across the map really. The only, I guess, criteria that we have is just pure logistics. We meet once a month, so we try and keep it under 300 pages or around there.
Right.
If it's a 5-week month, we can squeeze out a tiny bit more really. But I think, even with decent levels of commitment from people, it's hard to get through anything much longer than that for a lot of people with work and family, etc.
Yeah.
And we are open to non-fiction, and I always tell that to people when they recommend books to me, but we are yet to read a non-fiction book. So it has all been fiction, but quite a varied.
Which is interesting for men's reading group, because you're so, well...
Yes, I think so.
Associated with non-fiction.
Yeah, definitely. Although we've got one member who can't fathom what a non-fiction book would be like, because he's only ever read fiction.
Oh, really?
But he is the only one. The rest of us have read lots of non-fiction.
Yeah. I mean, my Dave has been not collecting them, but just reading loads of rock biographies, music biographies, and autobiographies.
Yeah.
And when we moved house, there was just too many. I mean, we've already got loads of books, and there's loads upstairs. So for his birthday, I commissioned Rue Waterhouse to paint them.
Right.
So,
I was looking at them.
So
thinking,
I've still got
fantastic.
pleasure of seeing them.
Yeah, good.
But without them physically being here.
Yeah, best not pass that idea on to my wife, because I've got an ever-growing pile next to my bed. It used to be a sort of cabinet, and now it's sort of all next. Yeah, there's a cabinet now behind books, sort of thing.
She calls them shelf portraits.
Yes, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, so that's his preferred reading, but he also likes crime fiction.
Yeah.
Doesn't go much beyond either of those genres.
Yeah, and we've sort of lots of, I think being a men's book group, I think it's obvious that we do tend to lean towards some, obviously, classically what I would perceive as more male sort of targeted stuff. But then in preparation for this, I was looking through, and we've read sort of across 20 months 6 or 7 books by female authors, which is a okay return, I think. But I think we've certainly got more interesting in the second year in terms of what we've targeted and what we've read. And it took a while to sort of, I guess, get away from.
I suppose you have a bit more confidence in recommending things, or going for certain authors than you do at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is also just the more people got involved, and they each bring their own sort of prior reading experience and suggestions. That's really, oddly, we had sort of a real influx after about 12 months. Because I'd originally just put the word out via posters and...
Yeah, tell us what caused you originally.
Yeah.
In fact, let's play a piece of music, and then you can tell us what inspired you. So, what would you like us to play?
Well, if you have it, with Benjamin Meyer's book, he also created a playlist which lots of us really enjoyed listening to.
Oh, right, yeah.
On Spotify. So I was scanning through that earlier. There's lots of really great stuff on there. Sort of books quite folksy, with sort of a bit of a sort of, I don't know, acidy undertone as well. So lots of the music is really all over the map, and it's really an interesting playlist. But the song that I chose is called "Summer Is Incoming In" by Circulus, and it's a sort of
Summer is
Incoming In by Circulus, and it's a bit of an homage to the book itself.
Okay, so we'll have a listen to that.
Sudden bloweth madden, spring the word anew. Sing cuckoo, sing cuckoo, sing cuckoo, sing cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Well, since the cuckoo name sweet down our
So, tell us what inspired you to start the book group.
Yeah, so I guess I had the idea floating around in my mind for probably around about a year. I had got into reading, having, I guess, really never read properly for a sustained period before. for pleasure. I'd sort of always associated it with work. I do a lot of reading with work, but I just got into it and was really just enjoying reading, and was encouraging my wife to read books so I could then talk to her and vice versa.
Yeah.
And then just wanted to also involve myself a bit more in the local community. Started looking at various book groups and just didn't really feel like necessarily what they were reading or what I was gathering from people that were in them, that it was necessarily what I would want to read. And then after sort of talking about it for the best part of 12 months, my wife sort of forced me and said, you're going to have to stop telling me about this and actually do it.
Yeah, good for you.
So with a supportive shove from her, I just created a poster, digital and hard copy, and sort of circulated it round. I was, I guess, sort of tentative at that stage as, one, whether there was any appetite for it, and two, obviously we live in a very forward-thinking and liberal area. It's one of the great things about Todmorden and the surrounding areas. I was concerned, I guess, that it might be perceived negatively for it being billed as a men's-only book club. So I sort of asked around a few people, tested the waters a little bit before I sort of stuck my head above the parapet, and it was sort of met with, universal praise, and no one seemed to be offended by the notion. So I went for it, spoke with the guys at the pub. They were very supportive and said, more than happy for you to give it a whirl and we'll see how we go. And my wife, as I say, circulated it around her sort of network of mums and, put the word out and stuck a few posters up around town, and then, turned up at the pub, sat on my own for 20 minutes, slightly anxious and concerned, and then an hour later there was 16 of us there.
Wow.
So it's sort of gone from strength to strength really there. And as I say, there's about 35 of us now ish. Primarily from Todmorden, obviously a good few from Hebden, a few guys from further down the valley, from Luddondon and Bradford. I'm not too sure that anyone comes from the other way, from sort of Littleborough area, I don't think so. There's a really nice sort of community and feeling about it. And, I hadn't intentionally set about creating that. I'd sort of said to friends, if by the end of the first year there's 3 or 4 people that meet up, that would be fantastic. And at the end of the first year we went for our first Christmas curry. First annual, hoping for a second this year, and 22 of us went along. So
that's great.
And it has very quickly become, quite a community, in that, whenever people are doing sort of, cultural things, going out to see music and films and stuff like that. I don't think men are necessarily the best at reaching out and doing those types of things, but people regularly will text in the group and say, I'm thinking of going here, doing this, going to see these guys. Usually a couple of people will go along with them, even if they're not necessarily people that would sit together on the evening or stuff like that.
Brilliant. Knock-on effect.
As I say, it wasn't a conscious thing for me. It's just happened from the people that turned up, and so it's been really lovely to see and to be part of that as well.
That's really nice. I'm in a book group as well. It's all women in mine, and we go to each other's houses.
Sure.
And whoever's hosting it, throws something together for us to snack on. But it started to become really kind of not competitive exactly, but I would make things that were themed with what we were reading. So when we were reading something based in New York, it had like cheesecake and hot dogs and stuff like that, and we thought it was started to get a bit silly. It was like really fancy dinner parties or something. So we,
I don't think we
rode back on that, but I can't see that.
I don't quite have that level of preparation.
Because we said at one stage it was like a mix of loose women and come dine with me you know, while talking about the book, but and drinking a lot of wine.
Yes.
You know, but yeah, we kind of found our level, you know, after a couple of years.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah. So, is there anything that's really stood out for you, either, you know, from friends you've made or what you've read? Is there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of what we've read, I think reading lots of books that were originally in different languages is probably not something I had done in, you know, as I say, I'd only really been reading properly for sort of 18 months beforehand, and sort of had steered towards sort of non-fiction. So yeah, getting into fiction was one, but then certainly reading lots of sort of initially different language stuff, and sort of we've read 2 or 3 that are sort of Eastern European, and I think their style of writing and sort of the directness of it is something that a lot of people in our group really enjoy.
Right.
And that's just not something I had you know, been aware of or thought of before. So yeah, you know, and then I think obviously just, you know, from a sort of social side, you know, just sort of seeing, you know, I said to my wife the other day, I walked off the train and I saw 2 guys from book club walking down the road together. One sort of mid-20s, one's 50 odd. I know they didn't know each other before. One of them's relatively new to Todd, and they were just having a chat, and I was just like, you know, it's just really warming and great. And so I think, and so, you know, and you know, connection to the communities, you know, it feels a lot more prominent for me now. Sort of been in Todd about 8 or 9 years now, and
have you?
Yeah, only really recently sort of feel like I'm part of the community. So I think all of those things really.
It takes a while, especially when you've had a lockdown and stuff in between. You know. Yeah. But I can imagine. I mean, my children are grown up now, but I can remember when they were little being really fed up of children's books and reading them to them and thinking, oh, I want a grown-up thing to read. Sure. But just didn't seem to have time, you know, so it must be nice to be able to...
Yeah, we actually read a book last month called A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, which is aimed at young adults. But it had very quickly got sort of very wide acclaim, and sort of said it, you know, it clearly transcended that realm in which it was written for. And it was just fantastic sort of analysis of a young boy dealing with, I guess, getting to grips with like grief and what turns out to be the loss of his mother. So again, that's probably not something I would have thought to read knowing it was for young adults, but actually most of the people, the guys that read it, really it resonated and thought it was really beautiful.
Oh yeah, that's nice when you read. Well, that's one of the major things about book groups, isn't it? There's very few books that we've read in mine that I've thought, oh God, I wouldn't have read that if I hadn't had to. There are 1 or 2, but you know, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
if you don't enjoy it, you know.
I put together a list of everything we've read before this, and one sticks out, but it is the one that has brought us the most laughter. And it's referenced very regularly as sort of the nadir of our book group.
What's that?
It was Crash by J.G. Ballard, which
I
believe is has been turned into a film, but I'm not going to go out of my way to read that one. But I mean, it is fantastically written, and I did then go on to read some of his other books, which were the content was, I guess, slightly less graphic. And fantastic, and again, he's just not someone that I had thought that I would be interested in reading. But
no, that's one of the joys of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember very early on in ours, we read something by Rose Tremaine, and I loved it. And so I started looking out for other things by her, and she, you know, charity shops, libraries, you know. But I've got a lot of pleasure from finding things by her, you know. which I just wouldn't have known about if
No,
I hadn't had the book group. And another one is William Boyd. I don't know if he's one you've come across, but Any Human Heart.
Right, okay.
It's one I'd recommend, especially for a men's group, actually. But it's like a history of the 20th century.
Yeah.
But with the characters,
Yeah.
fictional characters, but with real characters there. Yeah.
I always find it quite amusing that I get lots of women, like mums on the school run, coming up to me, and whenever they've read a book that they think their partner would like, or they always say it would be fantastic for a men's book group.
Yeah.
And and then generally, I tend to read as much as I can, sort of both, books and I mean they're usually right, and then I sort of try and filter them through. And
Yes. Oh, well done, and it's great to hear. I hope chat to you again in another few months and
Fantastic.
see how you're getting on.
cheers.
And and those kids will grow up all too soon.